Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Welcome, family. Take a look around. Look at this group of people here. I find it exciting to know that so many people are interested in this project, and hopefully by the end of it all, we will leave here with more inspiration and more connection than when we walked in these doors earlier. Before we formally start though, I want to just take a moment. We've all lived through 8, 9, 10 hours of our day so far, depending on when you wake up. If you sleep in like me, your day's only 6 hours long. But let's take a moment and, you know, all that stuff that we've lived through, whether it's work or family or hanging out or stress or bills or school, let's take a moment to have a deep breath and just let go of it all so we can enjoy this moment. Beautiful, beautiful. So, I would like to introduce you to the Avant-Gardeners meet and greet. And we have a few representatives from the Avant-Gardeners, and they are going to take some time to kind of talk about what we've been up to and talk a little bit more about avant-gardening, and we will proceed from there. So,
like typically we like to garden in our yards, right? And it's like I'm gonna go out and garden in my yard by myself with a couple of friends maybe, and that's it, right? And there we have a garden, and other people are doing that, and that's cool, right? Yeah, it's cool, but what if it was like kind of centrally organized into a collective? There's a central organization, but completely decentralized control. Like the control is all, you know, up to all y'all. So we are a network. We have a Facebook page, Eugene Avant-Gardeners, and lots of other information we'd like to give out to you, including a website with a calendar where we schedule the events. And so like you can post your work party that you want to have in your garden to the calendar, which is on the website that's up right now. It's just like a free Google site. And you can put as much information or as little as you want. You can just put your name, like, hey, party at Peter's house, you know, or you could give the address if you want. And so we could post these things there, or you can go to one of the events on the calendar and meet some people and garden with them. And yeah, so it's like going to be the first centrally organized gardening effort that I know of in the city. It's the power of it. You know, we're going to look at our yards not as our own yards anymore, but as the collective land, right? Because I think most of us believe that the land should be held in common, like the natives once held it. Well, it's time we gardened it in common then. So, yeah, let me introduce to you my friends here. I was occupying downtown with these guys, Garrett and Roman here. And you know, this past December, and we thought, gee, like, wouldn't it be nice to garden with some people?
Scene. And I want to be part of both of those things. And in the short time that I've been here, I've met a lot of brilliant people who have very viable, realistic ways to concretely change the way that we live our lives. And a lot of those have to do with the central current that nourishes us, food. And this effort, avant-gardening, isn't something that, you know, we have trademarked. It's something that has been practiced for a long time, and specifically in Eugene. There have been people who have been pushing the ideas of how we grow food together, pushing the limits and the definitions that kind of constrain the way that we have thought about ourselves socially. And with this project, we've really started to see some really powerful new ways of looking at sharing resources, sharing space, sharing ideas, and sharing time so that we can mutually benefit one another and really create something with a lasting value for ourselves and our descendants.
So I'd just like to start by saying that we are not the avant-gardeners. everyone here is an avant-garde. And that's really important to remember because we're merely organizers of a meeting. And we brought all these awesome people here together to talk about their ideas and to talk about what they want to see happen in the garden scene in Eugene. And it's really important that we create those connections because we can be so helpful to one another if we just reach out. And there's a number of projects that we've been involved with people opening their yards and their gardens to other families, other individuals, allowing them to grow there. People who don't have land, and that's something we're trying to reach out to, trying to create opportunities for everyone to have a secure source of food. It's really important that we do that for the betterment of our society.
Just gonna say a couple things real quick, because they touched on most everything. But what I discovered in Eugene in my time here is there's a lot of beautiful people, and I want to be a part of that. I'm from another place. I've done a lot of traveling, and came here knowing that there was some great stuff going on. And I think it's time. Well, it's been time, because the urgency is there. We don't have much alternative. We have to start providing that stuff. And, it's also about having fun and making new friends. I make new friends all the time, from gardening at grassroots gardening and going to individual property owners and just reaching out and, making new friends all the time. So I look forward to getting to know each and every one of you. Thank you.
I'm Karen, for those of you who don't know me already, and I just want to say that this is one of the most exciting projects I've worked on in a long time. I'm coming from Occupy and the activist community, and I've kind of had this thing going on for the last year where it's like I get all involved in Occupy and then it gets like way overwhelming, and then I'm like, I just want a garden. And then I find myself all the time like, what do I want to do? Do I want to garden? Do I want to do activism? Do I want to garden? Do I want to do activism? And woohoo, here we are! It's finally, my worlds have collided in such a beautiful way. So I guess just a few of the things I want to say is like how great it is that gardening is addressing all the issues that we've been talking about. We have economic inequality. Poor people don't have access to high quality food here. We have food sustainability. We have problems with the government and the FDA, the Monsanto thing. Community. We live in a world that just does not foster community in a way that, really needs to happen. And, I just think it's so great to be seeing all these things come together all at once. And I want to thank you all so much for being here. And I'm just so excited.
So I want to take a few minutes to tell you about, in concrete details, about some of the activities that the avant-gardeners have already engaged upon. So we got a chunk of land in town on River Road, and it's this normal, traditional home, semi-urban, semi-suburban type of house. And we have dreams of making it into like this eco-homestead, right? And the avant-gardeners have came over to my house, and the way that we have structured some of our work parties is this beautiful thing where we take these elders, these very experienced gardeners that just know so much about the earth, and we take a bunch of young, passionate people that want to learn about the earth, and we host a work party on somebody's property, like our property, and the elders get to express their knowledge that they have. They get to teach what they know. And the youngins, they get to learn, and we get all this help on our yard. And the way I look at it, there's probably lots of us out here that have gardens of our own, or maybe we participate in a community garden, or we want to start a garden. And we might think to ourselves, well, geez, I'm busy. I got work, I got kids, I got a job. I don't know if I can go and dedicate 2-3 hours to work on somebody else's property. I got my own stuff to do, But when we spend a couple hours giving to somebody else, and their yard and their gardening project, it pays back manifold ways, because then that favor gets returned, and suddenly we have a dozen people or 8 people or even 5 people working at our house or somebody's house, and so much more work can be done than if we all try to go at this alone. Everybody knows it takes a lot of time to grow food, and so together we can use many hands to make light work. Some other activities that the avant-gardeners have engaged in is seed swaps, free trading of seeds, cloche building workshops, skill building workshops, helping with community gardens get ready for the spring. And there's just a big host of projects that we hope to continue upon this momentum we've already built. And it's only like 6 weeks old, maybe. And we hope that out of this meeting, new projects will arise, or other projects will get expanded upon and built upon, and that together we can grow a better world. Can I get some cheers for that? No, I believe in a collective decision-making process. So how about this? If you would rather us go into art for a bit, poetry, music with a little open mic, and if you haven't signed up, you can just talk to me and we'll get you up on this stage. Raise your hand now. Okay.
Every other.
Now, if you would like to talk about a project that you have and open up the open mic in a way in which you can talk about your collective dreams or your project or a way you can be helped out or a skill that you would like to give, if you would want to go into that component now, raise your hand. Okay, I'm seeing slightly more hands for talking about your own project or what you can bring to avant-gardeners or what's been on your heart and your mind. And I'm totally willing to do that, and I would love to do that. I saw Bruce's hand come up. He works with Circle of Children. Bruce, would you like to speak about that for a second? And how that relates to gardening and the avant-gardener idea and deep gardening? If you want to talk up there, come speak to me real fast.
My name is Bruce. I'm from Circle of Children. We're an intentional community and alternative school located in Triangle Lake, which is about 45 minutes west of here. And we've had this land, it's 60 acres, a fully developed conference center, for about 2 years. And recently we've gone through some issues with the landowners and getting it donated, but it's all working out well now. And so we're going to be going out in a few weeks and continuing our garden, getting our spring planting going. First, we just need to fix up a few houses and do some plumbing work. So if anybody's a mechanic or an arborist or knows about building maintenance or anything like that, we can use your skills. A little bit about our garden. We have about 2 acres. Part of it is a large circle with 9 concentric rings, soon to be 12. And we're going to be planting a perimeter of 43 fruit trees around the outside. We also have a food forest that's already established with lots of vegetables growing underneath some young apple and pear and cherry trees. So we definitely have a lot of work and lots of opportunities for short-term to potentially long-term work trade opportunities as we are growing an intentional community and village school. Everything we do is operating as a free resource to the community, and a lot of what we do is very similar to the avant-gardening ethic. We have like workshops and always having volunteers come out because there's a lot of work to be done. And so, yeah, we look forward to establishing a relationship with avant-gardeners, potentially getting work parties to come out, or just seeing any ways that we can network and work together, even though we will be separated by some geographic distance.
How far away is it?
It's about 45 minutes. It's on Triangle Lake, just on...
Yeah. Put it on the calendar.
Definitely,
Give it
yeah.
like a month out and just put it on
That's what we plan to do, yeah. In about 3 to 5 weeks, hopefully we can have our first work party. We'll put it up on the webpage and we can figure out carpool and everything like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. We're going to have a quick intermission before we bring up Transition Youth Gene, and we're going to have a moment for kid cuteness. We have Alexa here. You
do
can
that.
stand too.
I'm feeling a little nervous having to follow that up.
Yes, again, we are in a startup group called Transition Eugene through Climate Justice League, which is our environmental action club on campus. We kind of realized recently that we started a similar thing as the avant-gardeners, and then when we found out that you guys had essentially started the same thing at the same time, we were like, whoa, we should probably connect. So that's why we're here today. Yeah. So do you want to talk a little bit about like what we do specifically?
I'm Heather, again. Well, right now, we're really in the very beginning stages, and we're hoping to gain a lot of knowledge from you guys today. We've done a couple of practice runs where we've dug up our own beds and planted some pea seeds and all that kind of stuff. But we're trying to connect with the community more because there is kind of a barrier between the university and the community, and we're really trying to break past that. So, yeah, exactly. That's what brings us here today. So if you guys have any knowledge you'd like to share with us, we would completely appreciate it.
Yeah, totally. And there's the university community barrier, and also just there seem to be a lot of like age barriers in whenever people try to start up an activism group, and that's so silly. We all have so much that we can learn from each other. So our group wants to help your group, and we hope that your group can help our group too. And yeah, let's all work together and make this happen.
Yeah.
And if you have any ideas for us, comments, whatever, want to contact us in any way, our email is super easy to remember. It's transition.gardens@gmail.com. So if you're interested in getting involved with what we're doing, or, I don't know, have any information that you think is crucial for us to have, we would love to hear from you, so thanks.
Would anybody else like to come on up? Oh, yes, come on.
My name is Shelly. I'm Shelly. I work with a group of people. We're a legitimate family. And we call ourselves the Ant Farm. We have about 3 sites. It's about an acre. Yaps is in the family. I'm glad he's here supporting and representing with me. We are, for the last couple of years, have been focusing on household level production. We have been trying to grow as much of our food as we can, and we've been giving up a significant amount of our time. Most of us hold down about half-time jobs and are broke besides that, but are spending most of the time that a lot of Americans spend making money so that they can go and buy produce by just skipping those 5 middlemen and growing our own food. What I love to grow is garlic, and what I love to grow is onions. And I don't think I'm gonna buy garlic this year, and I don't think, well, I bought my first bag of onions last month. So we're, I think, a really good demonstration of how a group of people can work together to rotate crops depending on what was grown last year, what works on each site, and to come together to do that really, the hard stuff, and prune tomatoes together, and dig up parsley and put it in other spots. There's 10 of us, there's 3 sites, there's about an acre. We stem basically from the tradition that I grew up at the urban farm on campus. 4 or 5 of us are urban farm instructors, so we have a lot of student energy as well as the kind of desire to learn more about what's going on. We've been really getting into soil testing recently. We learned that we were addicted to chicken shit and are trying to get off it. It's just hard. And so we've been doing soil testing. Calcium, okay, so that's what we need. And so we're learning, we're growing together. We're growing together as a family. We're growing our food. We're literally going to give birth tomorrow. Not me, but Jenny is. And so we're going to grow by just one more little sproutlet. It's really inspiring to see my friends grow into housemates, to grow into family members. Claire just moved into a site, and I'm really excited to garden with her. We're kind of in it for the love and the dinner table. I think it's particularly hedonistic, at least our branch of avant-gardening is. Not a lot gets done without a bottle of wine sometimes, but we have a lot of fun, and sometimes it takes a lot of wine to install a garden sometimes. We have been hosting regular work parties, and some of these wonderful fellows have come by, and we love to invite people out and work together, and I'm so inspired to see other people starting up their little pods of avant-gardening. And that's one thing I think that I wanted to bring to this discussion is how these pods of gardeners could work. I think we kind of all agree that there are limits to growth, and it gets a little complicated when the community gets so large. The logistics of organizing can become quite challenging. So, in this growing movement, this budding group of people, I would suggest to just look across the fence and see who's right there, and to find who you love already and trust, and see what you can do with those people that are already in your life. And I think start there and then start to expand, and find something that seems manageable and reasonable, a group of people that can be actively collaborating. And it takes a lot of communication to know who's going to be growing what and who amended what the year previously. So I would recommend that we kind of identify appropriate sizes of groups of people that grow food. We have 10 people. I think that works really well. Somebody's more in charge of, somebody has an excellent greenhouse site. I'm sure Lauren Bilbao's name has come up in your life before. She manages most of our starts. The site where I live has just recently come into our hands, and so I've been working on a lot of site development and prepping the soil so that we can grow our collective winter garden for next year. Somebody else is making sure the garlic that's in the ground right now is being top dressed. And all those details can get really overwhelming if you're too few, and can become lost if you're too many. So I think it's important to figure out what works for you in your life and what you can do and how much of your time you can devote to it. It's spring, and I'm sure a lot of us have also started way too much seed in the past and have planted a garden that's actually way too big for you to manage. And by the midsummer, the fall, you have way too many tomatoes to can and preserve. They rot. I have left tomatoes on my porch to rot and not canned them, given them to anyone, or even saved the seed off of them. So it's not a good feeling, and that's one consideration.
Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, Shelley. Is Mary Bradley here? Is Mary Bradley? Okay. How about you come on up? And as you get ready to come up, do you want to sing a song the more we get together? Because the important thing with gardening is finding the niche, finding the right size of group, and maybe we can have a sing-along right here. It goes.
The more we get together, the more we get together, the happier we'll be. When my friends are my friends and my friends are my friends, the more we get together, the happier we'll be.
We'll figure it out. Thank you. Here's Mary Bradley.
Hi. I feel very honored to get to come and be invited. So, my passion used to be gardening. I still garden well, let's take that back. I don't really garden very much anymore because my new passion is kind of like making family, making community. And so then I just tell them to do it and they do it. Right? Isn't that true, Roman? Pretty much.
You get to point.
I get to point.
It's your time.
Yeah, there's a lot of pictures of me pointing places. It's amazing how many pictures of me pointing is all over the place. So in any case, what I do is I coordinate the Food for Lane County Grassroots Garden on Colbert Road, which is across from the big Safeway at Calgon and Colbert. And we have a 2.5 acre site. And in 2001, we grew 4,000 pounds of food. And in 2012, we grew 67,500 pounds. Wow. Because what I used to be into before, I was really into a lot of growing, when I was really into soil prep. And before soil prep, it was composting. Because I went out to Grassroots originally as a volunteer with OSU Lane County Master Gardener Compost Specialist. And I was just supposed to reactivate the compost site and reinitiate communication with Pete, who was the coordinator at the time, and get Master Gardeners back out to the site. And so then I kind of I'm excessive by nature, not excessive compulsive, just excessive. So I put in like 800 hours that year doing compost research and experimentation, because the stuff I was taught in Master Gardener class didn't really work out, so I had to kind of figure out how to make it work. And then as I made it work, then more people want to come out and say, how did you do that? And so I ended up teaching, which I didn't intend to be doing. And after a year, Pete abruptly left. And we were all going, oh, what's going to happen to the garden? What's going to happen to the garden? And the long and short of it is, I started coordinating. And so I know how to make really good dirt. And I had to I've gardened in community gardens in Eugene, whether it be the Matthews Garden or Amazon, for like 25 some years. But this was a whole different thing. This was growing with people coming in that didn't know what gardening was. And they were just showing up because they needed to do community service to graduate from high school, or maybe they were asked by the courts to come and repay something by coming to the garden, or there was a corporate group or a church group, or a 4th grade group from Catholic school. So people would just show up, or there are people here that I've worked with, that I come in and work with me. And so like Jennifer, like Sebastian and Dimitri were little, and now she says they're big, but they used to come out and hang out with me. So lots of people in Eugene know me just because they've come through the garden, and we got to connect. And what I tell people is, when people work together and eat together, community becomes family. And so at Grassroots, we grow food for those in need in the community, and it gets distributed through Food for Lane County. We teach people to grow the food. We actively teach them to teach others. So we have a little game at the garden, and you guys are going to come into it real soon because soil prep, soil amendments are coming. So we teach people by asking leading questions and getting them to draw the knowledge out of their brains. And then we get them used to speaking it. Because it's one thing to do it and then know it yourself. It's another thing to be able to explain it to someone else. And for me, the hardest part of teaching was hearing my voice hang out in space. So what we do is we ask leading questions. If you've been at the garden, it's been explained to you once, then we get to say, oh, what are the 4 things you need to make compost, right? And then we get you to say it. So then you know. And you also get to hear your voice hanging out in space. And if you've confused some of the knowledge, because for me, all information fractures and commingles in my brain, then I get to straighten it out, reconfirm in the articulation and add to it. So we grow food, we teach people to grow food, we teach people to teach others to grow food, and then we have an outdoor kitchen. So we make a full spectrum meal every day with real tablecloths and real dishes, and we all sit down and eat together. We've been doing that now for some time, and we've kind of hit another nice plateau because in the last 2 years I got a full-time assistant. Yay! Sanity to my life. And before she came to Grassroots, she was a gourmet professional chef for 12 years. Yeah, it's consistent, yeah? She was kitchen manager and chef at Marchini for 6 years, so she's very good, but very basic. And so she helps to teach others who help to teach others. So people can come out, they can grow food for people in need, they can learn to grow, they can learn to teach, they can learn to cook, they can learn to preserve. We sit and eat together because so many people that come to the garden eat so much fast food or processed food. To eat fresh prepared food tastes weird. So we feel, if you give people food and they don't know what to do with it, and they don't like it, then what's the point in giving it to them? So we're re-educating their palates. Okay? One bite at a time, one meal at a time. So you get high school kids that come out and they'll eat the bread for about 3 times, and then they'll eat some rice. And then they see other people just really chowing down, so then they try to eat something else, and in time, they're chowing down. And they're leaving their Skittles and their dry top ramen that they munch on in their backpack. Okay? So, and then we take it a step further. People involved in the garden are invited to share the harvest, of course. Because proof in Lane County says 39% of everybody in Lane County. Like, 1 more percent, it'd be 40%. Qualify for emergency food assistance. 53% of all kids in public school are on free and reduced lunch program. So every year at Grassroots, about 2,500 people put in about 25,000 hours. So statistically, it has to be friends and family. Growing food for friends and family. As we should be doing it, right? When people come to the garden, they're invited to share the harvest. And now the latest project we've been working on this last year, and by the end of this term, we're hoping to be ready to launch it. We've been photographing and recording step-by-step instructions of some of our favorite recipes. So people can come to the garden, grow food for those in need, learn to grow it, learn to teach it, learn to cook it, learn to preserve it, learn to eat it. Take food home, flip up the website, pull down the recipes, make it themselves, and pass it on to friends and family. Probably the most significant thing that happens at Grassroots, though, isn't really the food. We learn from each other. And what we learn is how to get along, how to work together, how to honor and appreciate each other, how to see each other's abilities. And I tell people, our abilities define our task, and our strengths define our tasks, okay? Our strengths define our tasks, and our weaknesses is where we dovetail with somebody else. So everybody has gifts, everybody has abilities, and we get to set the tone. Not only for the garden, but for people then to pick up that tone and take it to the outer world. So it's sort of like we inadvertently grow 55 to 65,000 pounds of food while we're hanging out with our friends, waiting to have lunch. And lunch is good.
One of the beautiful beautiful things about this event. If anybody says anything that really touches an inspiration button in you, in a bit when we break it up, I hope that you go talk to them and introduce yourselves and figure out how y'all can collaborate. Next up, I would like to bring up Jan Spencer.
Thanks, Play-Doh. When I first saw that name, I thought, is this somebody's name? Play-Doh? It is. There's been a lot happen in this space. I haven't been up here at Growers for a long time, but right here there used to be there's the big round table right there. There's been a lot of good things happen in this space. Growers Market right here. This is a really important place in Eugene, and it is tonight also. I wanted to mention that this Saturday we are having a tour at East Blair Housing Co-op. If you know East Blair and Whitaker neighborhood, started out in 1982. I don't live there myself. But one of the most interesting things about East Blair is that the co-op has jurisdiction over 5 properties. There's 22 residences and 50 or 60 people who live there. So what they can do is they can coordinate the land use on those 5 properties instead of just one property kind of doing what they want to do. These are 5 properties that are coordinated, so you have dense residential over here in the townhomes, and over here there's a big backyard, you know, with garden space over here. So there are a couple places at East Blair where the parking lot's been taken out and that's been turned into garden, you know. Some really So this is kind of a model. You don't need to be a housing co-op to do this kind of stuff. If people can get it together with their neighbors, the neighbors can do this kind of thing. There's something called block planning that the city of Eugene actually recognizes, called block planning. And that's something that we're going to explain on Saturday. We're going to walk around East Blair. There's some bits and pieces of permaculture at East Blair, some really interesting features that could be as models, you know, for other places around town. So East Blair can provide something of a already example of what other people can do with their neighbors. And I live in River Road, and some of these things are happening in my neighborhood. Some places fences are down, you know, people are taking fences down because there's people who think like that, you know, who live next door. So I would really invite people to come to East Blair. That's going to be 1 till 3 at East Blair. That's in Whitaker neighborhood. We're going to meet at the community house, which is on the alley between 5th Street and 4th Street. If you know where East Blair, you can find that easily enough. I also wanted to mention that the idea of collaborating with existing entities is really important. You know, Mary, just here, if you haven't been to Grassroots Garden, wow, I wish my soil looked like that, and her garden's way bigger than mine. But that's church property, you know, that's owned by the Episcopal Church of Oregon, and they've made this space available. There's space around town that's available. There's City of Eugene. Anybody live in Friendly Neighborhood? Friendly Neighborhood, there's a place called Common Ground Garden. And if you don't know Common Ground Garden, this was a city right-of-way. It was where there would have been a street, but the street was never built. It's just kind of this grassy place. And the people who lived nearby said, wow, this would be a great location for a garden. They went to the city, and the city said, oh, that's a nice idea. Here's kind of what you need to do. You need to fulfill these, kind of like check out with your neighbors, and if they're okay with it, we'll work with you. That was like 5 years ago, and there's this awesome garden there that used to be a grassy right-of-way. It would have been a street. The city said, don't build anything permanent because maybe it still becomes a street. But I think if you're like me, you're kind of hoping we've reached peak automobiles and peak street highway construction. You know, I think we've got enough of that stuff right now. So that's a great example. There's another program the city of Eugene has called Park Stewards. And the city will help organize work parties and even bring tools and munchies to do work on city property. In my neighborhood, along the Greenway, there's a 65-tree filbert grove that's on community public property, and we work with the city of Eugene restoring this filbert grove. I picked 50 pounds worth of filberts this past fall. Claire spent a little time there. James has spent a little bit of time there. Brings people together. You know, this is increasing, improving local food security, and we do this with a city program. A city truck comes out there with a city employee, Lorna Baldwin, and she's tuned into all of this stuff. Brings the tools, brings the lemonade. This kind of collaboration is available all over town. There's opportunities on public property to reclaim more of the commons. The city can't take care of all this stuff. It leaves an opening for citizen activism to kind of fill in the void a little bit. These are great opportunities. One final item I want to mention in terms of a city entity that would be great to become involved with. The city of Eugene has a neighborhood program. Most neighborhoods have a neighborhood association, and they meet maybe once a month or once every 2.5 months. You can go to these meetings, you can join your neighborhood association, you can run for the board, and you can start steering the neighborhood's agenda in a green direction. Enough people, and this is an awesome, latent kind of an opportunity. And there's great resources available, like communication with the neighborhood. We had a newsletter go out, a little paper in River Road, talked about permaculture and turning front yards into gardens and school gardens and beekeeping. That went out to 6,000 addresses in my neighborhood. So if you become engaged with your neighborhood associations, you can become, run for the board. It takes a little bit of time to get on with this, but that's a whole other entity that's there, wasn't really intended, you know, to be used as a tool for regime change, but it can be used that way. And I think that's all what we want is really regime change, don't we? We kind of want regime change.
For sale, and he really needs help this time of year. They give the opportunity for interns who need a little boost. To work there in the summer, they actually get paid, they learn how to handle money, how to grow food, how to deal with the whole thing of farming. And but this time of year, it doesn't have much. And of course, there's lots of damage for all of us during the snow times. Volunteers are needed particularly on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturdays. And I think the couple of us have talked about going out on Wednesdays as avant-gardeners to give a hand. But that's a whole different way of doing things because it's farming. So if you want to increase your knowledge, and they send so much food out to the community. If you work for a couple of hours, they'll give you what food you need for you and your family. And their prices are great too for the weekend. They have a Saturday at the farm and Thursday at that new hospital where they sell fresh veggies too. So they weren't represented, so I thought I'd do it. Thanks, Ann.
Wow, there are a lot of projects going on. And it's a beautiful thing, it's a beautiful thing. And thank you all for listening to all of these projects. And next up we have Rick, who wants to talk about what he's doing for a few minutes, and we'll continue with the show.
Hi all. I'm Rick Gold, and came from Missoula, Montana, where we have an incredible, pretty big garden that we helped found more or less in an activist household because there wasn't a garden and it was a great thing to do. But that's not what I'm going to speak about. But anyway, if you don't know and you haven't used it, Growers Market downstairs is a great community place for everybody to connect with gardeners that going on. And in developing our own personal experience with gardens in Montana, in Missoula, we were very fortunate because we've run into a huge community of permaculturists. And one of the biggest sites in the world probably is Permies.com. If you haven't checked it out, there are so many different threads on it about different aspects of gardening, soil, whatever. You ought to go there and you can put your own little side avant-gardeners Eugene, place on the forum where people can connect through, to what you're doing too. So if you get the opportunity, go there. Thanks.
Thank you, Rick, for bringing up yet another resource in our community. Benjamin, would you like to come up for a second?
So nice to see all your beautiful faces here. I'm not a gardener. I am a software developer and a community organizer and a social activist. And basically what I do is build gift economy through the internet. I'm sure a lot of you here know what gift economy is, but for those that don't, gift economy is what we had before money. So before money, we knew who was in our community, what everybody was contributing, and we shared with them because we knew that they were helping our neighbors and our friends and our family. So, the problem with gift economy by itself, or at least historically, has been that it's hard to coordinate economic activity with people we don't know, and that's why we developed money. But as we know, money has a lot of problems with it, and not the least of which is the fact that it's backed by debt and keeps half of our population in debt servitude, and the fact that it's anonymous and we don't really know what it is we're supporting when we support somebody that gives us money for whatever it is that we do. So basically I create a social network for gift economy because really there are more than enough resources for all of us to live like kings and queens. Like, there are plenty of resources in this planet for all of us to live like kings and queens. The problem is that we don't share it very well. And part of that reason is because we rely on money to give us permission to share with each other, which I think is a old concept that we need to learn to go beyond. So the social network I created with a friend, and actually with a few friends now, it's called Kindista, which means one practices kindness. And you can post offers and requests, and all those offers and requests are categorized so you can find whatever it is that you need: skill sharing, tool sharing, house sharing, food sharing, child care sharing, all kinds of things that we should share to really live abundantly together as a community. And the currency through the network is statements of gratitude. So when you do something that people appreciate, that benefits other people in the community or the environment or the world at large, people can post statements of gratitude about you through the site, and that lets other people know that you're safe and trustworthy to share with, that you're contributing to the community in your own way. So if you want to check that out, it's kindista.org, also .net.com, but kindista.org is where you'll be redirected. There's a group profile page already for the avant-gardeners that you can join if you're actively participating in the avant-gardeners. If you create a personal profile, you can also create a group profile for any project or endeavor that you're part of. So there's a lot of great projects here. You can create group profiles to attract resources for that group as a whole, and also if you're using an individual as part of that group. If you got any questions about it, please let me know on the break. All right, thanks, y'all.
One thing I'm particularly excited about is the tool sharing program that Kindista is working on. Where is Ben Riley? There's Ben Riley. We have an avant-gardener related poem, right? We do. So let's give it up for a little poetry.
This is actually a poem that I wrote over the summer, but it applies directly to my philosophy of avant-gardening. starts with a seed. Grow, water, grow, water, grow, harvest, repeat. The cycle does not work without water. The seed does not grow without care. The hot, dry air deters both caretaker and seed, but they must overcome. For what remains if they don't? Brown, crumbly leaves, nothing to harvest today. You drop the ball. We drop the ball. But wait, there's a live one. From the ruins comes life in the form of a ripe tomato. Save seed, re-sow, grow. Water, grow. Water, grow. Harvest, repeat. This time we beat the heat. This time we care. We smile as the fruits of our labor ripen. Watermelon and cantaloupe, kale, broccoli, cherries, cherries. And not just one, but a bushel of ripe tomatoes. Tonight we feast. We toast our resiliency, but we do so without ego. For tomorrow the cycle starts again. Grow, water, grow, water, grow. Harvest, repeat. This time the movement takes shape. As our seed collection grows, so too does our community. We sow our newly acquired seed of knowledge in the mind of a friend, a neighbor, a willing, complete stranger, and we care as collective consciousness grows. It grows until another comes to harvest, and we care, and we sow, and we grow. Thank you.
All right. We have another request for a kid cuteness moment. This one actually comes from my daughter, and she wants to sing this song. She sings all the time around our house. I apologize in advance because it'll probably be stuck in your head for like an hour or 4 days. So here we go.
Well, this is a song that my choir teacher taught us. Like, we do warm-ups for singing, and my choir teacher always wants us to sing this song like around the house to like warm up our voices. So, okay. I'm a bold-legged chicken, I'm a knock-knee hen. Haven't been so happy since I don't know when, 'cause I walk with a wiggle and a giggle and a squawk. Doing the Tennessee wiggle walk. Put your heels together, knees apart. Snap your fingers, ready, start. Clap, flap your elbows just for luck as you wiggle and you are like a baby duck. Now dance me, baby, keep toes in time. Been so happy in a long, long time, 'cause I walk with a wiggle and a giggle and a squawk. Doing the Tennessee wiggle walk. Doing the Tennessee wiggle walk.
We are going to have some more speeches and more projects, but we want to kind of mix it up, throw a few poems, a few songs in the middle, and, mix the flow up. And so we got John, who's going to do...
Sure.
Do you need the mic up? Yeah.
Thanks, Gelflin, for setting such a high standard. Is that loud or should I plug in a guitar? Like, I can't tell. Okay. So one of the things I love about this group and the crazy people that got it started is that they're very infectious with their enthusiasm. So like a month ago, I was also infectious with the enthusiasm when I told them to play here. I've never sang to a mic before, so if it sounds really bad, I apologize. I'm just going to give it a shot. But I've been really excited about this group and what this group has been doing. And I've just been curious about what we're going to take it, what we're going to do with it in other places. Which has nothing to do with the songs I'm about to play, they're just some Bob Dylan covers. But I just thought I should tie it in because that's why we're here. So, cool. My name's John. Thanks for coming. This has been a lovely evening and hope to meet more of you before it's over. She's got everything she needs. She's an artist and she don't think twice. Got everything she needs. She's an honest and she don't think twice. She can take the dark out of nighttime, paint daytime black. You will start out standing, proud to steal her anything she sees. You'll start out standing, proud to steal her anything she sees. But you will wind up peeping through a keyhole down upon your knees. Oh shit. But down to her on Sundays, a little when her birthday comes. Bow down to her on Sundays, a little when her birthday comes. For Halloween, buy her a trumpet, and for Christmas, get her a drum. I'd like to apologize to Bob Dylan for just cutting out 2 verses that I couldn't remember, but sorry about that. Doing the best you can, man. He's still with us, so I haven't violated his memory. And the sad thing, I've only come to really love Bob Dylan the last few years. The first time I ever saw a Bob Dylan album was for sale in Victoria's Secret, which might have been the saddest way to introduce his music. But I've come full circle. He's a beautiful artist. There's been a lot of people that continue the mantra of get a job that drive by. And so this next song is for that. I think Ben might be trying to... Okay, never mind. So anyway, this is for that. I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more. I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more. I wake up in the morning, fold my hands and pray for rain. Got a head full of ideas that are driving me insane. And it's a shame the way she makes me scrub the floor. I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more. Ain't gonna work for Maggie's brother no more. Ain't gonna work for Maggie's brother no more. He'll give you a nickel, he'll give you a dime. He'll ask you with a grin if you're having a good time, and then he'll find you every time you slam the door. Ain't gonna work for Maggie's brother no more. Ain't gonna work for Maggie's pa no more. Ain't gonna work for Maggie's pa no more. He puts his cigar out the face just for kicks. His bedroom window made out of bricks. The National Guard stands outside his door. Ain't gonna work for Maggie's pa no more. Ain't gonna work for Maggie's ma no more. Ain't gonna work for Maggie's ma no more. She talks to all the servants, the man ain't got law. Everybody says she's the brains behind pa. She's 68, but she says she's 54. Ain't gonna work on Maggie's ma no more. Ain't gonna work for Maggie's farm no more. Ain't gonna work for Maggie's farm no more. I try my best to be just who I am, but everybody wants me to be just like them. They say sing while you slave, but I just get bored. I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more. Thank again everyone for coming tonight. It's been a long couple of years since I met many of you. through Occupy and got to know many of you afterwards. And this has been an incredibly exciting thing to be a part of, and watching the way people are responding to it, growing from it, and the ideas. I mean, I'm an ideas person, I'm watching the way that they're tying into the soil, into the ground, and something really beautiful is happening. So it's really an honor to be involved with that. So yeah, thanks again, and hope to get to know y'all better. Johnny's in the basement, mixing up the medicine. I'm on the pavement, thinking about the government. The man in the trench coat, badge out, laid off. Says he got a bad cough and wants to get it paid off. Look out, kid, it's something you did. Got those way, but you're doing it again. You better duck down the alleyway looking for a new friend. Man, the coon skip cap, the big man wants 11 on bills. You only got 10. Man comes Fleetfoot, face full of black soot, talking that the heat put the plants in the bed, but the phone's tapped anyway. Meg says it man, they say they must bust in early May. Orders from the DA, look out kid, no matter what you did, walk on tiptoes, don't try no doze. Better stay away from those that carry around the fire hose, keep a clean nose, watch the plain clothes, you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. I get sick, get well, hang around and ink well, hang bell, hard to tell if anything's gonna sell. Try hard, get barred, get back right rail, get jail, jump bail, join the army if you fail. Look out kid, you're gonna get hit by losers, cheaters, 6-time users. Hang around the theater, girl by the whoop pulls, looking for a loophole, don't fall leaders, watch the parking meters. Warm, short pants, romance, learn dance, get dressed, try to be a success. Please her, please him, buy gifts, don't steal, don't live. 20 years of school and then they put you on a day shift. Look out kid, they keep it all hid. Better duck down a manhole, light yourself a candle. Don't wear sandals, try to avoid the scandals. Don't wanna be a bum, you better chew gum. The pumps don't work cause the vandals took the handles.
Hear my voice, echo the elders when they tell us the earth is sacred, every pine needle, every grain of sand. I know the sap that courses through the trees like I know the blood that flows in my veins. The flowers are sisters, the rivers are brothers, the air gives us breath. So how can a man own the land when he is not the weaver but merely a strand in this web of life? Understand then what we do to this web we do to ourselves. So what will happen when the last tree is logged, the bees are all gone and the last salmon caught? Then we will see that we can't eat money. It's the end of living and the beginning of survival. So listen to these words uttered by Chief Seattle, and don't curse darkness, instead light candles. We don't curse the darkness, instead we light candles. So if you feel this, then please just light a candle. If you feel this, then please just light a candle. But how did this happen? Drilling, fracking, can't drink the water that comes out the tapping. Can't breathe the air where they build a coal plant and make a pipeline from the tar sands to cut down the lifeline of this planet. So let's examine supply and demand when keeping up with the Joneses equals eco-psychosis. Plus it's fan-ridden. This capitalism is a system of living based on infinite growth. So we cut down the old road, make paper cups for us to use once, throw it away, make a mountain of trash. We done with that. I hang with avant-gardeners and forest defenders. us, and we remember our ancestors, then remit the message for our progression into the future. Yes, we use computers, don't buy new ones every single year, so with this right here we make mental cosmic moves, grow grassroots through the city, occupy, making laws, create eco-villages, living simply so others may simply live. And we don't want to win political battles. We don't curse darkness, we light candles. We don't curse the darkness, instead we light candles. We don't curse the darkness, instead we light candles. So if you feel this, then please just light a candle. We don't curse the darkness, instead we light candles. We don't curse the darkness, instead we light candles. So if you feel this, then please just light a candle. I don't want to take up too much time. Would y'all want another a rap song, or me to just do a spoken word poem? What do y'all think? Just say something out.
What you want?
What do you want?
Spoken word.
I'll do a poem then. Yeah. It's probably best. There's a women's group in the back, pregnant women. So please make sure we always keep a path back there for them. And I don't want to be yelling about revolution too much, trying to interrupt the women. I love technology. It's flat out true. Like, I'm fingers in the dirt, earthy guy, but ever since a little kid, I have just loved technology. And I love my smartphone. I have been able to make friends all over the planet on my phone. And I chat with them all the time. And sometimes I'll be chatting with a friend in Spain, and we'll be talking about cool stuff going on. My family will be in the same room as me. And they'll be like, Jason, and I'll be like, yeah, I hear you, I know what you're saying. I don't know what they're saying. I'm chatting away, and they're like, hey, blah, 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 blah. That's my woman's voice, by the way. I'll be like, yeah, baby, it's all good. Little do I know, I just agreed to clean my toilets. I don't want to clean the toilets. I have to say sorry, baby. I wasn't paying attention. I was instant messaging, multitasking, traveling on my smartphone, my spaceship, searching Google Earth, seeing craters carved in the face of our creator by nuclear bombs, and I was thinking, civilization must be playing Russian roulette. Like, it's a brave new world, see? This is the age of digital dollars and radioactive rainbows, stem cells and cell phones, bionic limbs and genetically modified potatoes. Think! Thousands of years we spent struggling, rubbing sticks to stones to create fire. Now I send my worm home with a microwave, one button away from my lazy desire, where the cost of this convenience is oil spilled in an ocean named after Atlantis, a mythological city destroyed when their people couldn't handle their technological advances. See, this is the age of the absurd, where thousands of dead birds or dead bees can get cried from the sky, and in the worldwide whirlwind, every day I read on the newspaper headlines about the disaster is coming and happening faster and faster, so it seems like I'm reading about another town in a drought or a flood or an earthquake or a tsunami until I have to stop and think, oh my God! All of those people, all of that life, all of those animals, all of the plants, all of that suffering is real. Let's sit with that for a second. It's happening right now. People are suffering. But I can't think about that too long. I mean, I'm struggling to pay my own bills. I'm in this run-of-the-mill, and that's like a rat race, and I feel like that's a treadmill, so I'm just running in place. After a long, hot day, I just want to escape and space out through some Chinese food and Hulu. I'm poor though, you know, I steal my internet, and it takes me about an hour to download a 30-minute episode. And after my cold fried rice, I split the cookie, but it's unfortunate Because I worry if my descendants might be living on styrofoam mountains. It's like we're dreaming of a stable tomorrow, but waking up in the same quicksand bed we woke up in yesterday. And then I looked up over that smartphone and I saw your face and I realized, I want to hear what you have to say. But first I need to pray. See, when the world is trembling, it's time for remembering that we are blessed. So before we speak, may we just take a deep breath. I can tell that we're both stressed because beneath our smiles our teeth are clenched. So let beauty be born when we hug, so we may touch. God, may love be our refugee camp where we gently stamp our carbon footprint as we dance to the rhythms of nature. May we know hate's just love in pain. May we help the world to heal, but the world is not ours to save. May we face and embrace climate change with the brave notion that we will do whatever it takes. And may we just keep living, learning, wishing, working as this earth keeps turning. May we keep living, learning, wishing, working as this earth keeps turning. So let me put that smartphone away, because I want to hear what you have to say. I'm having fun. I kind of want to perform it more, but I realize it's best to pass it on. So I want to bring up a delightful speaker with a delightful English accent to talk about the philosophy and the ethos, a little bit about the history of avant-gardening. His name's Nick, and he's on his way.
So many familiar faces and so many new faces here this evening. I've written for English gardening publications, and since I've been in the States, not since I was in England. In England I was living a very different life. And what I found was that there's nothing you can teach the English about raising roses or about raising carrots. But one of the reasons my voice registered on the English gardening landscape had a great deal to do with the fact that what I was writing about in terms of community gardening in Eugene and our approach to community gardening and what it meant to us and how our relationship with gardening was impacting our community was something the English simply hadn't thought of. It was coming completely out of left field. We in the States appear to be approaching political gardening, deep gardening, avant-gardening, paradise gardening. These are the collective terms we use to describe this very evolutionary form of gardening in ways that are totally visionary and groundbreaking. When Thomas Jefferson said that he thought that farmers were God's chosen people, I mean, my sense is that he wasn't falling back on some sort of agrarian romanticism. But he had a very powerful sense that farmers, surfing that interface between the spirit of Gaia, to use a religious term, or the Gaian impulse, or that red-blooded and green-blooded dynamic, that interface, that dance, or in scientific terms you might say, settling into the co-evolutionary impulse, where you stand, with what you have, produces a dynamic that births a sense of integrity and power and insight and vision that is very unique. As avant-gardeners, essentially what we're endeavouring to do is settle into where we live with as much integrity as we can possibly muster. Raising food appears to be one of the most direct paths we have into this form of new living or new intelligence or new paradigm living. As we do what it takes to garden well, to garden deeply, and to garden collaboratively, all one and the same thing it turns out, what we find is healthfulness, community, integrity, a sense of balance, a sense of proportion, a sense of ethics emerging spontaneously out of the very presence itself. This is it's always struck those of us surfing this cultural vanguard as a little peculiar, that this territory that we're finding spread out before us is not something too often talked about or too often referred to. What we find is that for the most part that avant-gardeners are conceived of rather naively. Therefore we appear naive. But there's very little naive about avant-gardening. The Food Not Lawns collective that found its genesis here in Eugene in the late 90s essentially grew out of the very dynamic political communities that were involved here at the time. Some of you, there's some seasonal old faces in the audience, remember it was a little bit like the Wild West here at the time, wasn't it? And a whole bunch of people went off to prison, and a whole bunch of other people went off into the garden. This notion of light candles do not curse the darkness that Plato was singing about so sweetly earlier is definitely a cornerstone of the imperative that motivates us as deep gardeners. Deep gardening is an intrinsically peaceful and peacemaking endeavour. What it takes to garden well involves making peace with our world. What it takes to make peace with our world, we generally find carries us into a mode of living in a culture that's profoundly life-affirming and optimistic, and that seems deeply hopeful. This afternoon I was up at the USDA's pear germplasm repository in Corvallis with a small team collecting propagation material for our propagation exchange that takes place next month. The USDA's pear repository in Corvallis is the most diverse collection of pear germplasm on the face of the planet. And we've been getting in there for a number of years now to pull out these remarkable varieties that you can't get hold of anywhere else. And I took an opportunity whilst my team was sort of processing the material that we pulled out there to have a little conversation with the woman who runs the USDA repository up there, Kim Hummer, who's not only the big USDA muckety-muck up there, but is also a pillar of the International Society of Horticultural Scientists, I think it's called. Basically, it's where all the big wig plant scientists in the world talk and gather and discuss every major food crop in the world, and so on and so forth. And took the opportunity to basically check in with her and say, all right, Kim, what's going on in your world right now? And what was so profoundly striking to me is here's this character who is totally dialed in to the global interface of agriculture, research and education. How bleak the picture looked to her. All the systems and attitudes and to a degree sensibilities that have sustained a coherent institutional approach up until now are crashing. and to listen to her, to listen to the litany of woes, and to listen to her describe the current global agriculture scene and the holistic nature of the problems, the systemic totality of every single issue, adding up to a monumental dissonance, made me feel a little sad for her. Because what I was aware of is that from her perspective and from her role and from her paradigm, things looked extremely dire indeed. Sitting at her desk with her and speaking from the perspective of the local and the grassroots and the communal and the personal, things looked very different indeed. What I was keenly aware of is that as I was sitting there was that my approach, our approach to creating a sustainable and healthy culture feels coherent. It's working. Our ability to address the challenges of climate change at the local level, which we're dealing with on a hands-on basis all the time, seem to be functional, and they make sense, and they're working. Our ability to vision a world not swept up in the insanity of corporate madness at the local level, we're making it happen. It's working. It's coming together. The power, I think, essentially of avant-gardening is that it represents this core activity, this sort of, like this root cultural mantra that allows us to coalesce around a foundational archetype at the heart of our world that allows us to come together as individuals and as a community around something that is necessary, healthful, positive, hopeful, and fundamentally pragmatic. That, I think, is the essential message of what it is to be an avant-gardener. We're doing the right thing right now, and in a world that is essentially tumbling and crashing, it's working. Deep gardening is an activity that works for individuals.
For about an hour and a half listening to people speak, and I thank you so much. I have what they call was ADHD as a kid. I could barely sit still. I don't know if y'all struggle to sit still. But I appreciate that you've given so much love and attention to each speaker as came up. We have 2 people left. We have Jason that wants to talk about one more project, and then we're going to have Belle end us with some beautiful poetry. And then I hope y'all stay around. We can actually talk and turn thought into action and get to meet each other. And I hope we all leave with at least one new friend or acquaintance at the end of this thing. So, Jason.
Project that's about embracing the power of our creativity and how the creative potential within everyone is going to be a huge part of being a catalyst in everything that we're doing together. And I think that one of the most basic ideas that I've had that's been really inspiring to me within the avant-gardening community actually draws inspiration from Circle of Children, where when we were working in the garden, sometimes we would have musicians playing. And I think that's such a cool thing to have musicians playing out there, and I'd love to see that. That's one thing that I really want to get together and spearhead a lot of things like this, where we have people bringing their creativity to inspire more and do so much. I'm focused with video right now, personally, and I think the focus of that can really be on taking where, like Facebook and stuff like that, people are getting on there, and even in a place that's so connected like Eugene, I know people are, still getting sucked into those voids because it's there, and, there's so much useful aspects of Facebook and, a lot of things on the internet, but, it can draw us in negative ways, so I want people's status feeds to be filled a lot less with, all the mindless stuff and all the negative stuff, and it's like everyone already knows that they're not fans of Monsanto. That's pretty well established, and I don't think people really need to hear more about that. We want people's status feeds to be clogged with all the amazing stuff that's going on in this community, because we can see that there's more and more and more, and Avant-Gardeners is doing something very, very huge that anyone who sees any of it, I think pretty much anyone is going to be inspired by seeing that kind of stuff going on. It's like, this is some pretty cool stuff, and that's here. We can go out and be part of that. I think there's endless ways that anyone who considers themselves a creative mind can come together and put their ideas and their inspiration into whether it be video or music, going out and playing at a work party, or contributing music to a video or making a video, creating graphic stuff, whatever it may be, and exploring the different ways that we can tie the community together. And we'll have some pretty cool stuff up on the YouTube channel that people will get to see, and we can develop the ideas more and more. So anyone who's inspired to be part of that kind of thing, we can definitely talk about it. And I'm sure that as everything moves forward, people will be inspired to, get involved with whatever aspect they want to, whether it just be getting their hands in the earth, or it, be doing something artistic. It's all the same, because we're just playing and creating some amazing things, and we are creating a new world. So it's pretty cool to be here, and hope to meet more of you. I'm sure we'll share many amazing experiences in this amazing time that we live in. Thank you.
Recording. Bella, how about you close us out with some nice words of inspiration?
I only have one. It's because I'm late. I was writing a poem. It's a good excuse. Thanks. I'm very excited to be here. I am literally bursting with excitement to see so many of my favorite people all in one place right now, and you are all so fucking beautiful. Sorry. No, there are children present. I apologize. I'm just very excited. Dear family, it's a love letter to all of you. A handful of water flung up and out into a million droplets. We are the lucky ones who get to join in midair before falling back into the sea. We're all going to die. Nobody knows what happens then. It's not for water droplets to know what becomes of them after, or what they were before. But wherever we're going, let's go there as a river flowing. A drop can slide down a window pane or cheek, but I'm done crying for loneliness. The drop can move a few particles of sand. The river can move mountains. The free agent can plant a small garden alone. The we agent can turn the whole city into one big garden overnight. I want to experience the miracle of a pea pod opening with every single one of you. The weather can't stop us if we are the weather. The only way to be free is to bind ourselves together as sisters and brothers, and we can rebuild Eden by simply enjoying each other.
What else should be said with one no, we're ending it.
I want to point out that to contact us, I'm going to write the contact info on the board, so if you want to find us.
Peter's going to write the contact info on the board. There's also a sign-up sheet going around, but what I really hope happens now is that people spend time socializing with each other. I think Karen has a sign-up sheet. Peter has this, but let's savor the moment and experience Eden through each other right now.
Hey, real quick, just so you know, there's a little bit of seed on the table for sharing in the other room, but next month at the propagation event, there will be a much larger seed share. It's the Lane County Spring Propagation Fair 2014. You can find it on Facebook or... 22nd? It's on March 22nd and 23rd. The first day will be a seed share, scion swap, stuff for grafting up, and then some speakers. And then the second day will be mainly workshops in the LCC Learning Garden. Both events are at LCC. Cool, thanks.